Hello, everyone. This is Albert Bockenstedt again. Hey, I want to play a game with you. Let's play You Won the Lottery again. Well, we're going to talk about some scenarios on what, if you did win the lottery, what would you have to do or what you have to think about when you receive that huge jackpot. This presentation is not financial advice. This is just for education purposes only. So let's get started. The $1 million decision. Do we do a lump sum or versus payments? Let's talk about that. Well, since the dollar is designed to depreciate, let's let's look at annual payments of $1 million for $1 million lotto is only about $15,000 a year for 20 years. And then you have to pay taxes on top of that. That's kind of crazy to me. So over time, this is just going to keep eroding, eroding, and eroding because your dollar depreciates, your inflation goes up. Inflation actually goes up and down and up and down, but you still have to beat that return. And that $15,000 actually may put you into a higher tax bracket that you would end up paying more money anyway. Now let's talk about the lump sum. Approximately $500,000 is upfront because you get 50% of the total, and then you get hit with an automatic 30% taxes. And yeah, they want their taxes too, and 37% because that usually puts you in a, if you won $1 million and you get $500,000 up front, that puts you at 37% taxes. Then you add in the whole state taxes and stuff like that. So you may end up coming away with only about $300,000 to $400,000, depending on what happens. Generally, the taking the lump sum is actually better because you don't have to keep fighting higher taxes and you don't fight depreciation or inflation on your dollar. So taking control of it quickly and using strategies to combat depreciation and inflation is one of the key things you need to think about. Now, this is no matter if it's a lottery or any type of income, this is just a complete wealth killer. Annual inflation for the United States, the annual average inflation is 3.2. The Fed actually only wants 2%. Over the last 3 years, we're recording this now is in June of 2025. Over the last 3 years, it's been 9.1%. That's inflation. So if you didn't beat 9.1% in the last 3 years, you might want to think about how you are managing your income or managing your money, just like you would have to do if you won the lottery, right? Historical losses for the dollar. Since the beginning of the US dollar to now, it's a 96% loss of value. Now listen to that. 96%. It's huge. That's the reason why everything is part of the reason why things have inflation. We have to go up every year. Remember, the Fed is targeting a 2% average inflation rate, which is interesting. That happens to be the same amount of, it's the same percentage that is increased in gold production throughout the world. They only increased it about 2%. I just thought it was kind of funny that those two things are correlated or not correlated, but they're awful. That seems to be the same. So let's keep moving on here. Investment options for what you can do with your money winning the lottery. You can put it in a savings account, making 1 to 5%. 1% is still extremely high. 5% is definitely a high interest savings right now. You put it in there and you just basically forget it. But you're losing against inflation. And you already saw what those numbers are, so it's kind of a really a tough pill to swallow. Now, if you need that money like in 3 months, sure, that's a different story. Now, you can put your money in the stock market. Blue chip dividends could be anywhere between 4 to 8% on average. A lot of blue chip companies are not even that high. Tech stocks, though, in the stock market usually beats inflation. We go to real estate, you can flip, rental, notes, tax advantages, cash flow, depreciation. There's a lot of things you can do with real estate. That's a one way of beating that inflation. Bitcoin is an emerging asset class. It has huge rates of return, and it will right now is definitely beating the rate of inflation since the existence of Bitcoin. It's kind of you could be very, very simple, like a savings account. You just buy a little bit and just let it sit there and let it go for until you need it to come back out. It is a very good rate of return. I invest in it, but that's a different story and different education for another time. So let's talk about real estate at a closer look. Flipping properties, where you buy a piece of property is below value, renovate it, and then sell it for a profit. You have to have marketing knowledge, renovation skills, capital improvements, all this type of stuff. So you have to know a lot of information just how to do a flip. Some people think, oh, I buy it and then get a general contractor, they fix it, and then I sell it and I make a whole bunch of money. But look at all those expenses. And you got real estate agents, you got general contractors, you have the holding costs, all that stuff. Now let's talk about rental properties. Rental properties. Um, you can do that one or two ways. You can either manage it yourself, which comes with a lot of responsibility, and because you have to take care of those tenants. When they have a plugged toilet, they're going to call you. When they have a broken sink, they're going to call you. If they have a broken door, they're going to call you. Broken window, air conditioner, all that stuff, they're calling you. Or you can get a property manager, and they're going to cost you money. So rental properties is a great way to get cash flow and beat inflation, but it depends on how you hold it. And knowing how to hold that property in which type of account, which type of funds you use, that's an interesting thing. And oh, if you have to borrow money to get that rental, that's another cost, right? So let's go down to the next one. Real estate notes. This is basically you become the bank. Now you can self-manage them if you don't want to do very many of them, or you can have a third party. It's called a servicer that's going to service the note for you, which is great. You basically set that servicer up. The person who's buying your house, you get to they pay that charge for the servicing. They pay that servicer, and then the servicer sends you the money. Now, real estate notes, you you can use your own money, retirement money, those types of things. I highly encourage those, especially in self-directed IRAs. Those are excellent. Tax liens. Tax liens they're protected by the government, by state law, jurisdictions, and stuff like that. You can make anywhere between 6 to 24%, but those you buy them, and then there's some delay of time where you can take an active involvement into that tax lien to retrieve your money. Some people and those people who you're buying those tax liens for, because you're paying the state or municipality those liens, you're giving the local government that money to fund what they need to fund, and then when those tax liens become due, you can start requesting payments for those, or the homeowner pays those taxes off at a period of time that they choose fit. But there's some deadlines out there. I'm using Colorado, for example. You just you buy the tax lien, you have to wait for 3 years before you can try to foreclose on that property. So there's some, again, as you can see already on all of these four strategies, you got to have some extensive knowledge on how to do all of these. There are many ways to get tax advantages for this, and also how to, if you hold it correctly or manage it correctly, it can be very, very beneficial. Now let's talk about the stock market. You're buy and holder. You buy and hold, you buy the stock, and you get income when the stock goes up. Or actually, that doesn't mean you get income when you stock goes up. I'm just saying when you sell the stock, because you're gonna be a lot of people are buy and hold, and most self-directing accounts or self-managing accounts, they buy high and sell low. unless you have knowledge on how to properly manage your account. So that's remember, you only for buy and holders, you only really make money when you sell the stock. Dividend income, great. You buy and hold. You take those income, those dividends, and then you reinvest those dividends right back in the same stock. So it drives your cost basis down, which is great, right? Then that helps you when you want to generate income is when you have to sell the stock, or you get to a point where you have so many stock that you can actually start receiving dividends off of those as income. You have to buy out. Since I said earlier, a lot of those stocks out there only make 4 to 8%, maybe. 4% is even kind of high. It, you just have to depends on which stock. So I'm just giving generalities here. You may have to have a lot of stock just to get a decent income off of those. Let's call lease option. This is where you buy the stock, generate monthly income from it, or weekly income, or daily income, or annual income through leasing your do a lease option on your stock. Then you take that income from that and reinvest it. And then you also take your dividends that you receive that stock, if it has dividends, and reinvest that. So it drives your cost basis down a whole lot faster. So now, by using uh, this type of strategy or management of your stocks, you can, when you want to start generating income from it, we can take this list and go backwards. If you want, depending on how often you want to get paid, you can do a lease option. And right now, I'm getting roughly anywhere between 1% a week, 3% in month, or about 15% annually. So the more you do the lease options on a shorter time frame, you start actually gaining more income. Then, of course, if you have those stocks have dividends on it, you can also take those dividends and take those as income. But as where I hold those stocks now, I'm all in retirement funds. So there, it just keeps reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting, driving my cost basis down. So when I get to retirement, or when I start need to have that money for income, I don't have to sell my stock, but I could. And a lease option could automatically sell your stock too, which is good because you're going to make income from it, and you just end up right back in and buying those. But when you get to retirement, you're going to have preferably either a ton of cash that you can go buy stocks to buy stocks where they have lease options on them, and you start generating a lot of income inside that account. So when you get to retirement, or when you want to start taking those out, then you can take it as income. Now you have income funds. These are kind of brand new. Basically, what they do is do the lease option method, but they charge you a higher fee for doing that process for you. So you're almost paying twice on that. So once you learn how to do lease options, it is so simple. You're allowed to do these in a retirement account. I encourage you to contact somebody like me to even learn that, or you can go to YouTube, and I can recommend people to go watch how to do those management styles. The right approach depends on your time availability. If you're a busy professional, lease options could be you just set the time that you need. You'll go, okay, in the future, I'll have time to do what I need to do to set up my lease option. Just do that. Um, I do it. I'm on the road a lot. I'm on travel a lot for my job. And lease options is a great way to generate income. You need expertise on how to do that management style. Um, it all depends on how active or passive you want to be with it. Because I have people that I've taught how to do this lease option process. They only trade once a year. They set this lease option up for a year like they would do for a rental, and they collect a very good income from themselves. So let's go into next. Let's talk about Bitcoin. A closer look at how to beat this inflation, right? I just wrote up there. You can see it. The best years that they Bitcoin has increased in value, and then you show the worst years. Yes, it's volatile. It's a new asset class. Of course, in the beginning, it's going to be more volatile, just like any other type of stock or asset class. But this is where the average person can download an app, buy it. You don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. You can buy a point 0.000001 or more zeros, I can't remember, of a Bitcoin. You can start with $10. If you only have $10 to invest, you can start buying Bitcoin and be simple, easy thing to do, and you just let it appreciate. And if you start doing that $10 every week, that's $40 a month. But as you look down in the summary, the compound annual growth rate of Bitcoin is 100% for many years. So yes, I know it's kind of volatile, but this is kind of thing that you just buy Bitcoin and let it sit there. You can think about it as being a lottery ticket. It's the closest thing to being a lottery ticket now. But the ecosystem of Bitcoin, they're building out the whole financial structure around Bitcoin. As you saw, there's some ETFs out there and stuff like that. But why would you want to be derivative on that when you can just buy that asset and hold it and let everybody drive your um, value of that asset for you? While they drive it up for you, you just get to appreciate it. So it's kind of like the savings account. You just buy it, put it in there. You put it in the account and just let it sit there. And you have to properly manage it, meaning you have to put it in a cold wallet so you never lose it. So it's just like a savings account, but a whole lot better. Now you need to have some information about that. Please contact me, or you can go to the University of YouTube to start doing the research and going down that rabbit hole. There's some great books out there like the Bitcoin Standard. Now, Bitcoin Standard is a huge book. I encourage you to listen to it on YouTube, but it may piss you off a little bit. But we'll, we can talk about that. If you ever call me, we can talk about that a little bit later. So the philosophy of going beyond the lottery, you plan before you receive it, right? If you're getting any income, you have a plan to take that little dollar and implement it somewhere to provide you to make more money for you. Because it's a depreciating asset, which we already talked about. It loses value over time. So you should already automatically have a plan when you receive it and how to distribute it to make those dollars make more dollars for you. Protect your against inflation, and that's what we just talked about. We have to figure out a way to invest it to beat inflation, because that's the thing that's going to take the value of that dollar away. Balanced security and growth. Maintain, of course, you're going to have an emergency fund. It says 1 to 12 months here. Emergency fund, depending on what your lifestyle is and where you work and those types of things, you may only need an emergency fund for like 3 months. It depends upon you. So this is the number one thing you need to learn, is to learn. Invest in education. I highly recommend go down the rabbit holes on all this stuff in YouTube. You can contact me, and all this stuff, you know my YouTube channel. I'm going to be talking about all this stuff and teach you what to do and stuff like that. But here's where I can provide value for you. I can help you do the things that you want to do, meaning I can advise you on to do. I'm not a broker. I am not a professional advisor, those types of things. I want to be I teach people how to be a personal um, portfolio manager. That's what I do. That's what they end up being, because they have this multiple baskets of income that are like that are secured by different assets, which what a portfolio manager does, and you have to generate income off there. Now, in the beginning, you may not know everything and how to do that. That's the reason why you contact somebody like me, that I can help you do that. So remember that this stuff is not financial education, or Sorry, this is not financial advice, but it is education. And I want you to remember this is for education and entertainment purposes only. Uh, if you like what's going on this channel, please, uh, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, those types of things. You've seen it all over YouTube. I guess it helps the algorithm so everybody can find me. But I don't want everybody to find me. I just want people to. I want to help the people that want me to help them because I think I can add value to you. Please contact me if you want more information. The purpose of this game was not you to think about winning the lottery or anything, is what you're doing with your income now. If you, some of the stuff may have been new to you, or you're just realizing that this is happening to you. Just because you go to a job and you get paid your hourly wage or salary and stuff like that, and you automatically put it in a savings account and it sits there and depreciates. It, it's remember it lost 96% since the beginning of the U.S. dollar. 96. The Fed, who's designed to keep everything stable, keeping the monetary policy that we are monetary system that we have in the United States, they want 2% inflation. That's per year. So if you just follow that number instead of the normal average of 3.28, just by putting that dollar in for 1 year into a savings account just before inflation, you're going to lose 2%. Then it's going to be 2% the next year, 2% the next year. It's compounding, right? So let's think about what you're doing with your finances now. You can start out small. You, once you're trusted with the small things, you're going to start trusting yourself to do the larger things also. And having a mentor or having somebody there to advise you on how to do things is going to be extremely beneficial to you. So again, if you want more information or if you just want to talk about this type of stuff, go ahead and contact me. Or you can use Gameco, get my YouTube channel and stuff like that, or you can just give me an email and we can set up some time when you talk. I'd love to talk to people about this stuff. And hey, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.